F11 capture the monitor? No, this is fine. We're good. We're good. You guys can read it as well? You guys can see everything? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Payout? Dude, I'm busy. Alright, gonna be going over the... It's blurry? Are you trolling me? It's so blurry. You are literally lying, bro. It's fine. Alright. Let's go over the 9.7 mid-season update. First of all, what do we got here, guys? We got some big skins. We got the Nickelodeon collab. I mean, always cool. Always great. I think it's an event, not a battle pass. These are battle passes. Dude, don't use that emo against me. Yeah, these skins are cool. I mean, the skins are always nice. These two are probably the best. I'm looking forward to using a new Bologna skin at least. Oh, actually, no. Glub Glub Geb. That's definitely the one to go for. So we get it on July 12th, which is next Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday we get this update. Don't really care about this stuff. Smite Knight, cool. New free gods, yay. Favor skins, cool. Too many bug fixes to look at. Maybe some like... Yeah, Lancelot's like playable against now, that's cool. Game modes. Right, what do we have? Time until rolling applied, out of god combat increased from 3 to 5. I mean, this is a nice change, like it says here, for gods like Wukong. Ammo would be another one. Just, I'd say mainly for like warriors who are fighting a lot and then have like self-sustain. Like weaving in and out of combat. That's gonna help the most. I like the change, you know, especially for Wukong, like they mentioned it here. His ult was not getting much value at all, so that's not bad at all. Lowest level Shed XP bumped up a little bit. It's good for supports, should help them slightly keep up, you know. I mean, I think they'll be fine with the new changes to the one alongside the this one, but not a bad change at all. This I don't really know if it makes a difference at all. So the stuff that matters, okay. New glyphs, finally. They've been waiting a while, but we got like 20 new items, it feels like. So, this is the other one. I don't know why the image is for the ferocious one or whatever. Jotun's Cunning. Every time you damage an enemy god with an ability, you gain a stack of wit. At 2 stacks, your next non-ultimate ability that damages an enemy god gets 25 its cooldown refunded. So, I mean, instantly, I'm just thinking this is like a Uller item, like, or just like other assassins, but yeah, it doesn't look OP or anything. It's probably just going to be fun to use, just with like cooldown spamming gods. Moving on. This is the Meteor Rod that's staying the same. Perfected Rod of Tahuti. Successfully damaging an enemy god with an ability applies a mark for 3 seconds. Damaging them a second time with another ability consumes the mark and provides you 10% movement speed. 2 seconds. It reduces your non-ultimate abilities by 1.5. Only one... Oh, okay. So again, this is going to be more aimed towards like the spamming mages. I mean, you're usually getting Rod in a lot of builds at the moment. So... I mean, MS and cooldown reduction on your main kit, I mean, that's going to be pretty sick for a lot of mages who are trying to, like, close the gap. Like, Morrigan will probably be getting this rod. Like, almost 100%. And that's going to help us so much. Like, any movement speed you can get on Morrigan, especially after her 3 got nerfed in duration, is crazy. So yeah, I think this will probably be something we see a decent amount if people buy rod. Rod of Tahuti, Bancrofts, so... Inherently nimble Rod of Tahuti, so they just shifted this over to Bancrofts. Don't talk about mid-items, skip them? No. Like 600 for 120 power? Yeah, but like, you kind of need Rod on some gods, like Morrigan, you know? But okay, so this is just like the... attack speed Rod of Tahuti glyph, shifted over to Bancrofts. Just good for mage ADCs, really, no one else. It makes sense to have it on this tree too. Bancroft's Claw. Every 15 seconds, gain a stack of Hunger. Abilities cast within 30 units of enemy gods consume a stack, dealing bonus damage equal to 0.5 of their max HP. For each 75 magical power you have. Okay. Each god damaged by hunger provides you a shield of 1%. Okay. Cannot see. Okay, so this is a weird item. I mean, Bancrofts in general isn't an item that like anyone buys, other than maybe the magical ADCs like Oleron, Sol, and then like Hades, Anubis. So I mean, I guess this is like a decent glyph for Hades to build into, because you will probably be getting it. I said okay 8 times, has no idea what it does. I mean, I get what it does. I'm trying to like think of if it actually like does anything. You know, I feel like it won't do much. It's just gonna be like kind of ignorable, surely. Oh, these are the good glyphs, right? So inheriting Jotun's ferocity. So this is the glyph that was on Jotun's. So that's kind of what we already know what it does. It's okay. It's decent. I think this is the one that people were talking about a lot, right? Basic attacks against enemy reduce your target's physical protections by 17.5 seconds for 3, max 2 seconds. Okay, that's kind of OP, huh? Attack speed is capped to 1.75, so branch will still only provide... Okay, so this is like instantly in my head. I'm like, okay, like Nemesis is gonna build this every game, and just like kind of like auto tech assassins. I think definitely better on assassins than hunters, but surely there's a world where like hunters weave this into their build. I'm not sure how it plays out. Like now, 1.75 is way too low, man, for a hunter. Don't think Kali can get this? Yeah, I don't think it's Kali. I think it's more for Nem. I think Nem is gonna be like the god that like really abuses this. It's gonna be a bit of a problem, probably, because that's a lot of protection reduction if your character doesn't care about attack speed. Becca cares about attack speed. It just has to be gods that like to auto attack but don't rely only on auto attacking. So Nem is like a really good example of it. Awelix, maybe, yeah. Would warriors get this? Probably not. They don't really like build to reduce people's protections. So yeah, right now, like off the top of my head, I can say Nem. Fenrir is probably like a Stonecutting Sword. Yeah, that's different, right? Because it gives you protections as well, and MS. Like this is built off Executioner, right? So like inherently, like it's not the best for most of those gods. I think Erlang could, because Erlang builds Executioner a decent amount. But I think mainly Nem would be like the go-to on this one. But yeah, that's definitely a strong item, like on the gods that's gonna be good on. Fenrir, I think it would make sense on too. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty good. Magi's. Now these glyphs are the ones that looked pretty interesting. Whenever your passive consumes the nearest allied god within 25 units gains protection from a single hard crowd control for 5 seconds. If it's passive consumed before the time rounds, they gain 1 second of crowd control immunity. So I'm thinking Magi's Shelter we're probably going to see every game. Like I feel like supports should probably try and get this every game, right? It just makes sense. Just like another item that you build, and it just like protects your carries. I think they said on the show that if you have 5 of them, it like really messes up how the passive works. Like it doesn't work that efficiently. So like the more Magi's you have, the worse it is. But if you have like 1 or 2, it's gonna be like really, really insane for your team. So I'm thinking like there's probably a world where supports are gonna build this every game, and like a jungler might try and fit this in, or even a mage like Morrigan or like Hera if she gets played, you know. Solo laners might be looking at this one instead. Magi's Revenge. When you get CC'd, you get 20% MS and deal 10% increased damage to the guy that pops it. Yeah, I guess this is more for like the dive-orientated gods. Surely Magi Shelter just farms dodgy. I mean, yeah, I guess. It just depends. It's also something that's pretty hard to play around. Like, you have to You can't just hold your beads hoping that your teammates' Magis get popped as well. You have to keep that in mind, but it's definitely going to be like a big factor in some comps for sure. So everyone deals, onto this one anyway, everyone deals 10% more damage to the guy that pops the bubble. That's pretty good, and I think the MS is the bigger one. I mean, honestly, again, I feel like Morrigan, who already buys bubble a good amount, would probably get this one. Because she's going to go on a backliner most of the time. That backliner most likely is going to have CC that pops the bubble, and that guy is just going to get jumped by Mari, the assassin, the soul laner, like everyone, you know. So I think these are probably the best glyphs in terms of like we'll see them a lot. I think they have a lot of flexibility. Heavy Executioner seems pretty decent. Nimble Bancroft, we know like what it does. It was on the rod in this current patch. And this one probably just going to be like decent to use, nothing crazy overpowered. And this was obviously already in the game. So yeah, I think these two would be good. New masks. So all the masks that we have now in the game have been removed pretty much and reworked completely. Wait, they're starter items now? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. So does that mean you can only... okay, let's see. So this could be a big change if they're pretty good. Protector's Mask, so Mage, Assassin, Hunters, Health and Mana. Decreased damage dealt by 6, decreased damage taken. So it's kind of the same as before. Getting the assist for an enemy, minion, or jungle monster dying will provide 8 bonus gold. Damn. No gold gain? Well, it has this at least. Restore 15 health and mana if you are not within 13 units of an ally for 27. Okay, so this kind of like brings up assassin supports, I think. Potentially. And let's see what the upgrade does. I should have checked that first. 5 stacks of cowardice. Each stack reduces your damage dealt and healing output by 10%. For each 60 prots you have, you remove a stack. And you gain a stack of bravery. For each stack of bravery, you gain 3% damage mitigation and provide 7 physical magic protection. Okay. So yeah, I think this could be something that we see like bring in maybe like a Saket support situationally. I'm not sure if this is a better pickup for mage supports though than a compassion. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see if it affects assassin pickups in support. But other than Saket, I can't really see who would get this. But yeah, Fenrir support. Oh yeah, true. Maybe there's a world where that happens as well. But Fenrir as a character got nerfed a lot for support. I mean, so did Saket, I guess, but Saket's just way safer. New Loner's Mask on Baron support and Nox. Yeah, but I think they're both better with Compassion, surely. But we'll see. Fighter's Mask. So Warriors and Guardians. This could be a little soul lane pickup, huh? So you get Power, HP 5, and CDR. Those are really good stats for 650. Increased damage taken. Let's see what the passive is, though. Increased damage dealt by 6% and increased damage taken, obviously. The item grants 2 MP5 per 10% your missing mana. Your ability deals 10 bonus damage to minions. Okay. Well, I mean, that seems like a really good trade-off. I don't really see a downside to the starter. I feel like you're always going to be... The way you build a mask first. They're starter items, dude. They're starters. They're 650. I feel like this one could be worth it though. Like as a soul laner, you get power, HP 5, MP5, CDR, and wave clear. Let's see what the upgrade is though. Obviously, this does matter. It's just worse hands on guardians. Yeah, I think maybe for warriors it could be decent. Pressure warriors. So 60 power, 80 magic. Like that's a good amount of power. Especially 60 physical is crazy. 20 HP 5, 10 CDR. 5 stacks of weakness. Each stack increases your damage taken by 10%. For each 65 physical power or 90 magical power, remove a stack of weakness. When you remove a stack of weakness, gain a stack of strength. For each stack of strength, you gain 3% damage dealt and 2% movement speed. Oh. Okay, so this is not great for soul laners, right? You're never really going to have enough power to make it worth, right? I mean, this is maybe for like people who want to play like warrior jungles, like full damage, I guess, and just go for some like crazy plays. Like Achilles with old Rangers had like some niche play. Why can't assassins get this? They just can't. It's class locked. Like the assassin can this one, they can't get this one. It's because assassins would literally one shot if they could increase their damage dealt by that much. They'd always have enough power to get the full value as well. I mean, I do like the idea behind these. It's just I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough power on warriors. Maybe when you have like EFG and stuff, but it's a big commitment. Maybe it's gonna be good on like warrior mids, stuff like that. Maybe like a Wukong build. But yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's interesting at least. More interesting than the current masks we had. These upgrade to 15 or 20? I'd assume 20 since it doesn't say anything else. Probably 20? Yeah. Lono's is 15, Rangda's is 20. Okay, there you go. Alright. I mean, yeah, again, I like the direction they've gone with these. Maybe some tweaks they'll be a bit better, but yeah, I like them. Now, these are the big ones, right? The new item tree, the earrings. So, similar to Pridwin, I guess, like the tier 1, the author entry, the tier 1 is kind of whatever. It is cheap, though, which is nice. And it builds into a bunch of different tier 2s and a bunch of different tier 3s, huh? So, the ear cuffs, 20 power, 30 magical, 20 power, 30 power, 15 attack speed, and MP5. I don't really want to read the stats, honestly, who cares? Yeah, they all give like pretty decent stats for a tier 2. Like, I don't think these are gonna like feel bad to build, the tier 2s anyway. Maybe this one is not. This one's decent as well. And now the upgrades. These are like some of the biggest passives that we've had in the game, or the most unique passives, right? So this can only be built by hunters and mages, and this is like potentially a really broken item, but it's also super interesting, right? It pretty much, like your basic stat projectile speed is increased by 40%, which I think Aggro was saying, it pretty much makes your auto attacks hit scan. Obviously, it reduces your basic damage by 15%, but I think the trade-off is going to be worth it for some characters, or like pretty much every ADC, right? Like, yeah, imagine a Shablanke ult, and for 2200, it's a pretty low investment. Power and attack speed is all you get, but yeah, I think it's just one we're gonna have to wait and see, like how impactful it feels to have these like hit scan autos. Because again, like you're gonna have to remove an item that gives you way more stats than this, but this passive could just make it like a must buy. So yeah, this should be interesting to see. It could be problematic if it's too good, because then you have gods like Freya, who already like, you know, are so obnoxious to play against when they have Fatalis. Now, if they have like just like insta hitting autos, I don't know. It could be rough to play against. But I'm sure they've done enough testing to the point where it's like strong, but not to the point where it's like unfair to play against. I think PTS is up tomorrow, Grave. But yeah, cool item. I like the design. Something unique in the game. Can never complain at that. Sphinx's Bauble. 2,700 gold. This is not class locked to anyone. And this item basically allows you to overcap your cooldown reduction from 40 to 60 at the cost of reducing your damage and healing by 20%. So I think this is probably the coolest item we have. Getting to late game is going to be more fun than ever probably on some gods. Mainly more like the supportive like mages, I think. Obviously it's a big commitment. This item only gives you 10, so you're going to have to find 50% cooldown elsewhere in your build. And it is 2,700 gold as well, which is expensive. But the opportunity to have 60% cooldown on some characters is crazy. Like, the payoff is insane. If you're talking about gods like Baron, for example, having the coffin up like 20% quicker, you know, Like, stuff like that is just going to be super powerful. I'm not sure if it's going to see much play on physical gods. Like warriors, I can't really think of many warriors where you'd want to lower your damage by 20% in a trade-off for your abilities. Maybe something like Emma for super late game. 40% you forget in red pot. Well, I mean that still counts, yeah. But yeah, 40% in red pot, whatever. I think there's like a world where maybe like big Ultima solo laners like trade off their build for something like this, but I'm not sure too much. But yeah, I think there's gonna be some Guardians who are super strong with this. Imagine if a Khepri can get to 60% cooldown, or a Geb can get to a 60% cooldown. You know, I think it's gonna be pretty impactful. Yeah, I guess there could be some play with Bumba's hammer as well, but that did get changed to kind of tone down how easy it was for bruisers to abuse it, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it will be good on like damage mages as well, like 20%. Is that really a big deal if you're firing abilities like so much more often? We'll see. Very cool though. I love this. Having a bunch of low cooldowns is one of the best parts about Smite, especially when you play those modes with like uncapped cooldown and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. It's not really possible in Guardians because you can't fit 60% in your build. Well, you can. You can go Sphinx's Bubble 10, Pridwin gets you to 30, Spirit Robe gets you to 40. Fuck. And then you'd have to go like Shoguns and then a potion, you know? Then you still have room for Thebes. But yeah, that's going to be scuffed. Breastplate? I think it's if you have to build two 20%, surely the build's going to be a bit rough, right? I don't know, maybe not. Blue if you're solo? Yeah, but you shouldn't play... Like, if you're buying this item, you shouldn't play around your blue buff finishing the passive, guys. Like, you're not going to have blue buff all the time. In my opinion, it's not correct to, like, factor in the blue buff so much. Like, what are you going to do when you're sieging duo side and you can't just pick up a blue buff, you know, and your passive is just useless? Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, again, it's a cool item. Junglers should get it easy. Yeah, but again, like, it's not really for junglers. I think this is mainly for characters who have really high impact, like ultimates or like utility items mainly. But yeah, I hope this sees some play. I think 60% cooldown is super cool. Moving on. Manticore spikes. So this is kind of looks like this is geared towards like dive gods mainly, like tankier dive gods. When you hit enemy gods with hard crowd control, they drop a spike on the ground. When you or an ally pick up the spike, they gain a buff that causes their next ability to deal bonus damage equal to 3% of their max health. Okay. This effect is doubled if you are the one who picks up the spike, lasts 7 seconds, cannot stack, and picking up another spike will refresh duration. Okay. So, I'm not sure if this is going to be that impactful, unless you are picking up your own spikes to deal 6% damage and you're kind of tanky. If it's based off of your own max HP and like a hunter, I guess now with health, like everyone's health being increased by a few hundred, it would be a bit stronger than like in previous patches, but yeah, I just don't see why you'd ever want to pick this item up. Maybe if you have like a dive comp without burst, like you have like sustained damage and you have this to add onto it. And you have like, I don't know, like triple frontline with like high health, or like a Zhong on your team with high health, stuff like that. I don't know. There's probably going to be scenarios where all of these items are really strong. This one, I think, is the most reliant on your comp and like that comp and how you play the game. But 3% is not going to be too impactful, I think, unless like did you only scrim on this patch? No, not yet. We scrim next patch. I don't think anyone scrimmed on this patch yet. Some people got to play on it, like playtest it. But scrimming on this patch, like earlier the next week, didn't really make sense because we still have games on the current patch. Play scrim, same thing, get ratioed. You're a dumbass, aren't you, huh? Would Ravana use heavy executioner? If you're building full damage, probably, yeah. But then you're also building Executioner on Nirvana. It's not really like something you ever built, so I'm not sure. But yeah, this definitely could see some play. We'll just have to see how the numbers feel. Like, seeing a percentage is way different to actually, like, playing the game. So, yeah. The stats are, like, not the best as well, in my opinion. Fablest Hoops. So this is the one I think most people think this one is OP, right? So you get health, HP 5, MP 5, not the strongest base stats. Each time an allied god dies within 70 units of you, or you heal an allied god with an ability, flower drops, you can be picked up by anyone, okay. Gives that god a shield equal to 7.5% of their max HP the last 8 seconds. New shield refreshes duration, okay. Yeah, I could see this one being crazy strong. Because if it healed your allies, sure, there's a lot of counterplay to it, obviously. But shields are way harder to deal with in general. And you're gonna have comps like that have like Yamoja, who's probably gonna abuse this item, or like Hell. And like if the Hell is paired up with like a Kepri in a comp, like it's just gonna be a bunch of shields to try and burn through. But I think Sunder got buffed, which we'll see lower down, which could help stuff like that. But yeah, I think, damn, this could be a pretty strong item, which makes the game kind of boring if it's just like shield stacking. But yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be too big of a problem. We'll see. Guan, I think Guan's too bad of a god. Doesn't give power. I mean, yeah, it's not a damage item. You're literally building this to be a support. And the ability heals, yeah. So it has to be like Yamoja 2, Hell 3, etc. And you can't pick up your own shield. So the person building this is like kind of committing to their team, like carrying off of it. But yeah, strong item. I think it's pretty good. So now that's all the new stuff. Now we're on to like the current items which are in the game. So decrease anti-heal debuff duration from 6 to 5. As covered earlier, the duration of the anti-heal debuff is being changed on all items to match the new amount of time to be considered not brawling. Okay, I mean, yeah, this just... You're kind of just being nicer to the self-healers here, right? More than anything. Which is fine. I don't mind that. Boombas, okay. Probably one of the most problematic items we've had. But also, like, probably the most fun item we've had ever. Other than, like, Glad Shield, I'd say. So the item's kind of been reworked in terms of, like, you know, the stats it gives and how the passive functions. So instead of just being, like, a really good hybrid option, it's now being switched to more of, like, a, you know, gives you a lot of power on the front end, way less health, and only 10 instead of the 20% cooldown. The damage is staying the same at 80 true damage, but instead of getting a 5% heal per proc, you're getting a 120 heal, which is around 5% of an assassin's proc, but obviously for warrior junglers, you're going to be healing way less than before. It also doesn't reduce your ultimate cooldown anymore. It's just your active abilities. So I think there's no way that this is a buff, right? I mean, it's going to make those warrior junglers do a bit more damage than before, but in terms of how much sustain they get, it is going to be lower. And not being able to ult spam is not the biggest deal. It's a big buff for the non-tanks who build it. Because, you know, not getting any power from your starter item was rough. But if you're playing like an assassin now with a Boomba's Hammer, like, you are going to be stronger than last patch. For sure. Yeah, buff to damage characters, nerf to the warrior jungles that we all hate seeing anyway, so... But yeah, I think this was a needed change, especially the... I think the 5% heal was crazy. I think 120 puts it in a way... Just in general, putting it at a number amount instead of percentage just makes it way easier to balance if it's too high or low. And not affecting ultimates just makes the game more fun to play for everyone, while still giving you, like, you know, lower cooldowns. So yeah, I think this is a really good change. I like the direction. This is a revert, right? I think it was at 15% previously and got nerfed in PTS. Not really an item you see in general, Heart Ward. Like, it's kind of just... I don't know. It's very situational based on them having multiple magical carries, I feel like, or magic damage dealers. But I mean, yeah, it's a nice little buff to like try and get people to build it more. But I think Amulet of Silence is usually a stronger option because you are just getting a free CC into your kit. And just having that on a lower cooldown is definitely a good change to try and get people to notice this more, I think. So yeah, not like much to talk about. Decent items, especially this one, I think, has already seen some play like on and off, so this is only going to help it. Support starter items. So all the supports starters will be upgradable at level 15. This is like kind of the level that supports are like hard stuck at in high level games. They're like praying to hit 17 these days. So I mean, this is a really good change. I think it just makes the game a bit more fair for them, including animosity. I mean, yeah, I'll talk about that obviously. But yeah, I think this is really good for supports. It's gonna just help them feel more impactful in a game. Sentinel's Gift getting 1 bonus gold. I mean, I don't know how much of a big deal that is, but sure, I'm sure they'll take it. This is a really nice one. Adding 6 gold per 5 to match Compassion just gives Sentinels like way more like a competitive value against Compassion, right? So now you get to choose between which passive you'd rather have because you're not losing out on the gold gain that Compassion had. So yeah, that's probably like the best change, I think, out of the support ones. Also, one thing to note is something like Animosity. Could see that in the soul lane. Level 15 as a soul laner is not, like, it doesn't take long to hit. If you're playing a god like Vamana or like even like, I don't know, like Osiris solo, Bologna solo, you know, stuff like that, Emma, there's going to be some scenarios where you might try and go Animosity. It is a pretty crazy power spike and you do a lot of damage as soon as you pick it up. It's just whether you can like bridge your way to that, and with Golden Blade right now, it's definitely, you know, playable. Like even now, you could rush Golden Blade on some of those gods and get to level 17 and feel really strong in Animosity. It's just gonna be even easier next patch. But we'll have to wait and see how big of a deal that is. And maybe even Warbanner has some like niche play on other roles. I'm not sure. Relic Dagger getting a buff. I like Relic Dagger. I don't mind it as long as it doesn't start getting picked up on like carries and their like beads and ages are up crazy amount. I think it's fine. Again, just helps supports be more relevant, and it also doesn't like make them incredibly hard to kill or anything. So I think it's good. Good change. Tyrannical Plate Helm. Buffs to towers outpace the strength of Tyrannical. Yep, that is true. Increase minion buff from 20% health and attack speed to 25. Still don't think it does much. Tyrannical in general is like, I feel like it's a pretty impossible item to have like balanced. Like, I think it's either going to be like near irrelevant or OP. But the base stats on it are decent, so the passive getting a slight buff, it's fine. Just don't really see many options like why you'd pick this item up over others. Mail of Renewal, you got 10 more prots. Like, Mail's a cool item. In theory, it's like, it would feel good to build in some games, but, like, anti-heal is just so easy to build. The times you'd build Renewal, you're probably turned off, because, like, there's so much anti-heal in the game that, like, you just don't even get value from it. But if no one has any anti-heal, then slam a Mail of Renewal, man. It's probably OP. I mean, it heals your allies as well, right? So it can't be too bad. But yeah, I mean, small buffs like this is just to like nudge people towards like trying items that don't get built. So I don't mind them at all. Same here for Sledge, kinda. I mean, 30% CCR. I mean, you're kind of covered with CCR throughout your normal builds as like a tank. And I don't think Sledge's weakness was that it had less, like, didn't have 30% CCR. It's just like, whatever, kinda, again. It's just like a small stat boost to try and get people to notice it in a way. I don't think it's a horrible item if you're snowballing, honestly. It does increase your damage a lot. And like a little amount of prots. But yeah, just not the most optimal item in general. Regrowth getting power. I think this is a cool change. I think this is nice for like Naja, who you know, it's like kind of cool to get regrowth, and like he'd lose so much power like not getting that item. But it's definitely a nice little change. I'm glad they went down the route of like adding something other than survivability to the item to try and make it more relevant. You know, maybe we'll see it a little bit on the self healers. Maybe Emma. Maybe like it's a nice buff to Huck as well. You know, who knows? I think it's a cool item, and that's a nice little buff to get people to try it out more. Pythags, pretty much getting a revert back to how it was in the good old days. Got rid of the penetration, got the cooldown back, and I got a bit more health. The item kind of has its identity back now. I think it's way better design-wise that it has cooldown, personally. It was always built as kind of like a utility, like snowballing item for supports, or like for like solo laners who are like Zhong, Hades, Chunga, like maybe even Baron, I don't know, stuff like that. You know, like Pythags was always such a vital piece. Okay, that no pun intended, guys. But yeah, it was like always a nice piece to the build back then, and like getting the cooldown back now, we'll definitely see people start this, like rush this item or get a like third or fourth slot. I think it's going to be something we see a lot. Mirrodin, tragic that this item just gets a new passive every week, it feels like, every season. Very fun item, but I think the reasoning was with like how many cooldown breaking caps and stuff they have. Yeah, break the cooldown reduction cap mechanics. Like Mirrodin is just hard to utilize well. I think the new passive it has is really strong, by the way. So you get 25% increased damage dealt, decaying to 2.5 increased damage over 8 seconds. Wait, doesn't it give something else as well? I swear it gave movement speed as well. I thought it was... Okay, I mean, still, 25% increased damage on some gods is going to be crazy. Like, that burst of damage, 25% bonus if you hit it on anyone, even a tank of, like, a backliner, it's gonna be a lot. It gives pen, it gives cooldown in the base, right? And it also gives, like, 110 power? Maybe even more now. I think they boosted it a couple patches ago. So I think it's definitely a solid item that we'll see built. Legion Helm, 4% crit damage reduction. Sure, I don't mind it. I mean, people have been asking for more anti-crit in the game. Sure, we'll take it. I don't think Legion Helm is, like, strong. I don't think it's weak. It's kind of just, like, whatever. And I think I'd still rather pick Spectral. I mean, if it stacks with a Spectral, maybe there's a world where you get both as, like, a Guardian. But I think maybe they added this more of as like, an option for mages to deal with, like, a Mercury or something. So I don't mind that. That's all. Relics. Bracer of Illumination. Buff duration increase from 8 to 12. Yeah, no one is ever going to buy this bracer over the other one, right? The other one just gives you power and movement speed, which is just so OP. Earned objectives, whether you're, like, baiting people in to, like, engage on, or just, like, blowing up objectives. Just a way stronger version. But yeah, I mean, fair enough. They add something to a bracer to try and get people to buy it, that's fine. Can't really complain. Drowned Ankh, from 2% to 4%. Again, it's just another relic that nobody was buying, so I think it's fair to, you know, give it a pretty substantial buff, you know, double the damage it does. I still think the other Ankh is probably better in, like, the majority of cases, but maybe there's going to be niche situations where people try this one. Maybe if it's, like, healing that's, like, stacked on top of each other, maybe, I don't know. Stuff like that. Yeah, I don't mind again seeing these type of buffs. Cloak of the Avatar. What does this do? Oh, it's a knockback one. Yeah, this one doesn't really have much use ever. especially when the other meditation gives you like crazy cooldown on all your abilities. No one even builds med in general, but I think the other med is just too strong to ever compare to this one. 33% increase in knockback strength is a big deal though. So if you are picking this up, it will have a noticeable buff for sure. So these buffs are just the last bought relics? Yeah. It's just the relics that people have been ignoring. They always get the other side. And it's to try and like even it up a bit. 7% current health is magical damage to 5% current health is true damage. Yeah, I don't really think anyone's like... I don't even know how you'd like use chaotic beats well. You know? I feel like the cooldown reduction is just always going to be more useful. Unless maybe you're like a tank diving into like crazy CC. Obviously this was like a bit of a meme in PTS where you could like insta-kill people with the original version. But yeah, I don't really see any of these relics getting much play, honestly, but especially this one. And then Trembling Terror. Okay, decreased health threshold for Tremble to occur from 30% max HP to 15. So the Tremble is going to occur more often. I mean, if you have a comp where you have two horrifics, obviously, you know, there's going to be times where one guy gets the other. Or again, it's just a free CC. But, yeah, I don't think it's very strong compared to the other horrifics, so not much point picking it. This Sunder, I think, is actually pretty slept on. I think both Sunders just aren't really purchased ever, right? But oh wait, there was a bug. Okay, nothing to do with the actual thing, but increased target's damage taken to 7.5%, especially when this splashes. If you get like a big grouping Sunder, I think there's definitely scenarios where like this relic just isn't bought that much, or, like bought enough. I'd say. I guess it's hard for supports because they kind of have to get Shell, they might have to get Heavenly or Bracer. But like, there's got to be niche scenarios where like the Sunder is kind of OP, huh? In my opinion, anyway. By Sunder's ability Nike pick, yeah, I think Raven is another god that Sunder is really good into, especially like this full tank Raven. By versus Cthulhu, yeah, it makes sense as well. Just when you have like one target to kill, right? But the strength of this Sunder is it can hit multiple people too. So yeah, maybe we'll see this more often. Like Fafnir was always a god that would get Sunder before, so we'll see if this buff like changes that at all. Thorns, I think Thorns needs a... I don't know, Thorns is impossible to get into the game without it being bad or OP. The problem is with Thorns, especially this upgrade, when you upgrade it from the tier 2 to the tier 3, you actually lose reflect damage. So that just inherently feels horrible. That is a pretty big radius, but it's just not that impactful as a relic compared to the other things you can get as a dive god. And I think for the developers, like, it's really hard for them to have Thorns in a spot where it's usable and not like too frustrating to play against. So I mean, fair enough. You know, that's a pretty decent change. So sword branch description, blah blah blah. Oh, diminishing returns. Do I even go through this, guys? I feel like this is too much. Like, I don't want to explain this. Aggro probably didn't even enjoy explaining this for like 10 hours. Yeah. Don't go through it. Move on. Yeah. Pretty much, you'll be able to actually monitor your diminishing returns on your hotbar now. It's something like most people didn't even know about in the first place, but I recommend just reading through it yourselves, guys. Okay, God Balance. People explained it well. There you go. Go check his thingy. But just in general, these are going to be pretty impactful changes, right? Especially the roots applying DR. They're going to be very impactful for sure. Okay, God buffs. The easy stuff. Alquang buffs. The passive change is decent. I mean, the passive is actually a pretty big part, I think, of the character. So I like this. 10% scaling. I mean, this isn't really going to make the god better or worse. I mean, obviously it's going to make him better, but it's like not noticeable, especially because it's his escape. But yeah, the passive buff might feel nice. I think Quang is still not very playable. I just think like Assassin's just way stronger than him in most cases, and like I still think his ult's a bit buggy in a lot of scenarios. But this makes him like in solo lane, he's gonna be like a little bit better than he already is. Cerberus, yeah, Sub is probably one of the guys that got like most affected by the DR changes. So that's why they've buffed him like early on to kind of make up for it. Let's see. Increased healing reduction by an extra 5%. That's nice. It's never bad. And slight base damage buff on his 1. That's just going to help his wave clear, which is nice. Especially in like the early levels. But yeah, Sub in general, not the strongest character. And I don't think he's going to get much better because of the DR changes. But yeah, it's glad I'm glad they adjusted his numbers a little bit. Let's see, Cupid. So what do they do to Cupid? They increased his wave clear by 10%. So 20%, I guess, because based on, well, 20% to one minion and then 10% to the whole wave. I mean, that's not bad. Cupid is kind of just like a weak character, but I don't think his wave clear is the biggest problem. But sure, we'll give him that. And the healing, yeah, I don't think these are like the type of buffs that's gonna make Cupid super relevant. He's just an instant target to any dive god, and he's kind of more of a counter pick rather than just like a strong hyper carry. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, again, just the character doesn't really get played much, so small buffs like this or whatever. Discordia, increased base damage on the 2 and cooldown on her 3. I mean, Discordia is always like a rough god. I think they mentioned it on the notes show. Well, like she was always a mage that like hardly killed people, or like just did like the perfect amount. So 9.5 definitely affected her a lot. So yeah, definitely nice to give her a little bit more damage and cooldowns. Still, I think she's still just like a decent character. The passive is always valuable. She has like really good CC, can catch people off guard. I think it's just like a slept-on god in a way, personally. But yeah, maybe we'll see people pick her up now that she got like a double buff, and maybe with some of the mage items. Hera, so these are pretty big Hera buffs for her passive here. August is going to be up way more often, and that's pretty good, right? Pretty good. Can't really complain. I think Hera probably gets stronger with the what's it called, 60% cooldown as well. I feel like just the threat of August knockup being up more often, you know, if you can weave that into a build, it's pretty good. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, we'll see if Daughters runs this a bit more. That was a chuck pretty good. Actually was. In my head I was like, damn, it is. Hercules. Yeah, Huck, another one who's gonna get affected by the DR, right? So they just gave him a little bit of cooldown buffs. I think Huck could see a little bit of play. Maybe he's like a god that your ranked is on. I'm not sure. Regrowth gives him extra power, obviously, which is nice. And yeah, these cooldowns, you know, 1 second, not going to be the most noticeable, but I mean, a buff is a buff. Can't really complain. Hunbat's knock up and knockback immune whilst channeling his 2, and he also gets 10 more base damage. Yeah, when are we going to give this to Bologna, guys? Since we keep giving it to everyone else? It's just going to make him feel nicer to play. Already a pretty strong character, especially like mid-late game. So yeah, we'll probably see a bit more bats, especially with the new Bumbus Hammer is gonna like, it's way better for Hunbats, for example, right? Because actually no, that's a lie, because his ult being reduced was so crazy. But like Like, he's just going to get more damage off of Bumba's Hammer than before because of the front-loaded power it gives. So, yeah, that could be pretty good. Nike, decreased cooldown on her 1, which is nice. It felt like it was never up, honestly, and you don't really build much cooldown on her. So that's a nice buff, going from 14 down to 12. And Barrier Formation, a base damage buff. I mean, I feel like Nike's problem wasn't really her base kit. I think her ult is just pretty weak at the moment and not that impactful. I think her base kit was already in like a pretty solid spot. Or like it was okay. But yeah, this is just gonna help a little bit. Her wave clear was already decent, it's like a little bit better now. Abilities just up more often. I mean, I just think she's a god that isn't really playable because of Sunder, right? Or even Ankh, like half killing the shield. Honestly, not really a god that I want in the meta. She's not too fun to play or play against, so it is what it is. Pele, this is a fun god. Increased return damage from 20 damage per shot to 30. I don't think that does anything, sadly, but I think Pele's a cool god, and any buff will take. Saket, what is this? Increased base damage from 50 122 to 50 130, so this is a revert. I think that's good. I mean, if anything, this helps like a Saket support like a tiny bit more, right? But they have been killing her base damage. Oh, and increased damage mitigation from 35 to 50. Ooh. Yeah, these are some Saket support changes for sure. I mean, especially this one, right? Yeah. I think we'll definitely be seeing some people run Saket support. But you have to remember, the supports currently being played offer a lot more to a team than a Saket, so it is going to be a bit situational. I think we'll see people try it for sure, though. And then what's this? This is like the non-conquest changes, right? Oh no, we're still on conquest. So I think they were talking about like bonus damage to like jungle buffs and lane minions, and they're able to code it better now. So yeah, the changes they're doing is pretty much to try and open up more flexibility. Thanks to the 13 months wagon, appreciate that. 40% extra damage to jungle monsters. I mean, Shackles wasn't really your like main wave clear on jungle camps ever, right? But I mean, this is gonna help. It's gonna feel nicer when your flames are down. Danza, that's his 1, right? The bounce. That's pretty crazy. It was already doing decent damage to camps because of the bounce, but now it's gonna insta clear camps probably. That's the 2. Oh, okay. Damn. So his clear is just better in general. Because his 1 was already doing good damage to camps, and now his 2 is also going to do great damage. So, yeah, it's nice. Now, this one, I think, doesn't make sense. Morrigan was already a god that had crazy farming, whether it came to lane or jungle, I feel like. And I don't think we'll be seeing Morrigan flex to the jungle at all. I think we're just going to see Morrigan mids like farm even harder now, right? Especially when it comes to like clearing red buffs and stuff. That's something so many mages struggle with. And like Morrigan by default is just going to be better than the other mages now, you know? So definitely not ideal. I mean, I have daughters on my team, so let's go. Morrigan buffs. I'm not complaining. But yeah, I like the concept of these type of buffs, but I'm not sure if like Morrigan was great, you know? To give that to. I said 15 months, Coobs, appreciate that. Chunga. These are some really nice changes just to her base stats. She was always a character that felt really squishy. Oh, and 15% extra damage to minions. Okay. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see some play from her. I'm not sure if she's going to like run the solo lane or anything like that, because, you know, I don't think she's that type of god, but, you know, there's definitely going to be options where you can play this character now. Especially with, you know, like Pythags getting cooldown again, that's going to be like a good like starter item for her. She's obviously going to be a character that's good with like 60% cooldown, character that's good with like the other healing earring, whatever, you know, stuff like that. You know, there's just a lot of things that went Chunga's way this patch. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's picked more. Minions now take 100% damage from the return swing. So this makes Thor Solo's clear way better than it was right now. It is still Thor. I mean, I think the god, if you're really good at the god, you can definitely play him. And there's going to be like matchups where you can definitely own your lane. Especially now that you can clear as well. But I'm not sure if it's going to like take him to like that crazy next level of like a top pick or anything. I think he's still going to be like a niche pick. And yeah, I think it's going to depend a lot on matchups. But like, if people stop playing mages and stuff like that in lane, then Thor is definitely a good answer to it because he just has really high damage. So I don't mind that. Damage and wave clear. Zhong Kui increased the base physical protections from 11 to 18. That is a pretty big change, especially with like his passive like factored in, right? That's a lot. He's gonna be a lot tankier than he already was, but I don't think it makes him much better because he's just like kind of a underwhelming character in general. But like if you pick him solo lane now, like he's just even more frustrating like early game. Non-conquest balance in-game icon. So I feel like a lot of people hated these changes. I didn't like look at them, but I kind of like the idea of non-conquest changes personally. You know, like Outwash, a character that ruins like every casual mode you ever play. Sure, make him bad. Stuff like that, you know? Just depends on which gods, right? Like again, Ares like kind of ruins casuals a lot. You know, I'm down for that. Same with Capri. I think these are like great changes. The people will enjoy playing casuals more because you'll just see these gods less, or when you see them, they won't be as annoying. I think the biggest problem though is, well, there's like two potential problems. What do you mean I can't read, dude? It's longer cooldown. Actually read it correct. It's non-conquest. What the fuck do you think I'm talking about, dumbass? What? We know it's non-conquest. Anyway, buffs. I think the two big problems are, what's it called? People who like play Conquest and then like play a little bit of Arena and then like go back to Conquest, you know, like what's it called? It might feel off, you know, going from like one mode to another. I didn't ban him, but I really don't care. That guy's been annoying like previously. Honestly. I think it's just gonna feel bad for people like hopping between modes because they're gonna have to like readjust. But it is what it is. And I think it might affect the duel pretty badly. Unless we get like more duel specific changes as well. Or if they like factor duel into these changes. So I think it could be pretty good. We'll see. The buffs, I mean, I guess they're just going off of the characters who have like really low win rates. I'm not surprised. Like these gods are horrible to play in any mode. Like Alquang, Arachne, Becca, Kemet. Yeah, I'm kind of fine with those. Overall, I think that's a great patch for the game. A lot changing, which is what we needed, especially on the item side. You know, I feel like we were kind of running out of items to build or like try or like fit into builds. So I think it's great that we got like this big patch to like kind of mix it all up, you know. It goes live on the 12th, which is next Tuesday, or the Tuesday coming up. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Obviously, like, as with any patch notes, just reading them isn't going to be like the most accurate thing, you know, like, who knows, I might play like 2 days, or like all of us might play like 2 days and be like, oh, none of these changes even matter, but I doubt it would be like that. Just looking forward to playing on it and seeing how everything feels. Especially stuff like the Musk starters to see if there's any real value in trying those in solo. And obviously like stuff like Sphinxes, you know, being overkept cooldown. Just a lot to try, a lot to digest. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Yeah, make sure to... what do people say for the YouTube chat? They say... make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. There you go. Easy. And we're back to stream. That's it. That's the video. That's the patch, because I saw some people wanting to, like,